Hey everybody, my name's Tom Jochim. This is the third episode of the Modern Workplace channel. Today here with me I've got super architect Matt Gordon, and we're going to talk a little bit about bots. And I think probably a lot of you have heard the term bot, and I think most of us think of kind of the help chat bot that you get when you dial into the cable company or whatever that kind of helps you navigate through a VRU automatically. But there's actually a lot more that you can do with bots and specifically in teams. So Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with some different customer situations and the way that we've implemented bots for them?
Sure, I'm happy to, right? I'm proud to announce that in our interaction with none of our bots have I found myself screaming agent at the screen, trying to just get through to my original intent. So I think that's a net positive, right? You're right, Tom. When we think about bots, we think about just taking a telephone-based menu system and reproducing it in IM. That's most of our experience with bots, as we think about how we interact with services, with customer service from various organizations in our regular lives. And it's good, right? That's a huge net positive, because what you're doing is you're taking information and you're making it more readily available to folks. But I think we can do better, right? If you think about bots in teams, for starters, it's multimodal, right? It's not necessarily just chat, right? We've seen, you and I sat and we saw a view into a next-gen bot that actually does, it can tell if you're mad or not, right? And start to actually figure out, I'm seeing these bots that will do sentiment analysis on video calls like this to figure out, is your audience engaged, right? Are you losing somebody because they're multitasking, or are you speaking too quickly for an international audience to be able to understand or follow translations in real time, right? These things that start to pick up on kind of the human factors of communication and make that data itself available. I think that's one of the most exciting things for me. The other big one that we're starting to see with the solutions we bring to our customers is AI, right? Applying machine learning in intelligent ways to how a bot not only interacts with you, but makes information better, makes information more available to you in a better way over time. That's hugely powerful. If we think,
Matt, you mentioned AI. Tell me a little bit more. Like, how do we make a bot smart today in our infrastructure?
well, so you think about how you're going to apply. All of these are backed by data, right? And so I think about like one of our Studio X Modern Workplace Garage projects, the Bishop bot, right? If you remember, that came out of a need for just getting better over time at onboarding new employees, right? Give people a self-service capability through Teams, through SharePoint, to be able to look up, where do I go to find my benefits? How do I figure out what my vacation policy is? Where do I sign my onboarding docs, right?
Yeah, I'm new to the
And
company. What do I do? Essentially, I've got my
yeah,
own little helper.
everybody does that, right? And everybody has this volume of semi-organized information that assists with that, right? And that's the power of these bots, is to use machine learning to evaluate the data that's out there, but also evaluate its interaction with people. If you've noticed, like when I've test driven the onboarding bot, which is now Blossom and a whole customer facing experience for us, as I've test driven that, it always asks me, "Hey, was I helpful today?" Right? And that seems friendly, but it's actually the machine learning, right? It's, if I say yes, that was helpful, now the machine learns some. If I say no, it wasn't, it might ask me for another survey, right? What could I have done to be more helpful? And it's going to learn from that interaction.
Well, and I think the cool thing about BishopBot, if I recall properly, is it learned over time, right? So use obviously the bot framework in Azure to kind of set it up and point it at a data source. But when it didn't have an answer to the question, it had a list of SMEs that it could go ask, essentially humans behind the
Yeah.
bot, that could then answer the question. And then if the user said, "Hey, that was the right answer," then the bot would log that and it would learn over time. So over time, maybe you had 10 or 15 human beings behind it helping out. But as it got smarter, it basically gets self-sufficient and grows
Yeah.
over time.
And that's the whole point of the action, right? Instead of screaming agent at the thing, it'll finally give up and say, listen, I don't know your answer, but I know somebody who does. Right. And then it's going to watch and see what that answer is. And it'll never, you're not going to have to connect to a human for the exact same question again. It builds that library of information. I think that's huge.
So how does the bot show up in Teams? How do you actually interact with it when in your Teams environment today?
So there's a couple of ways that you're going to experience a bot in Teams, right? The bot can be either a service in Teams. If you think about like Flow, right? So Flow and Power Automate, it'll actually show up as an application in Teams in that right-hand sidebar. So if I get a notification for an approval for a vacation request for somebody on my team, that can show up through Flow, and I can interact through it that way. And it's basically text-based interaction. The other is, the bot is effectively a persona, right? I can start if I want to look up somebody inside of Microsoft, I can say, hey, who says what? There's an Abbott and Costello skit in here somewhere, right? Who's Tom Jochim? It'll say, well, this is what I found about Tom Jochim, right? And it'll tell me who you are and how to contact you and a little bit about your organization. And I can basically figure out who I'm interacting with by asking who, right? Or you can invite, you've got a bot as a persona that you can invite into a meeting, right? Imagine that bot that can listen for things that sound like action items, right? Our email does that for us today.
Yeah.
Our bot thinks it listens for requests, takes notes, does sentiment analysis, figures out level of engagement for your meetings. That's These are the things that we're starting to do for and with our customers, that really help drive an improved employee experience. They help organizations use their time and their data and their human capital so much better. So I think it's really exciting stuff.
Are these things hard to build, or give us a sense for, if a customer came to you and had a set of requirements to say, hey, I want to develop a bot to basically understand my product list and enable my sales force to ask questions about what they should sell in certain scenarios. Just give the audience here an idea of how long would that take to kind of get it up and running, and what kinds of resources would you need to do it?
Well, it can run from so easy, right? Let's start with the most straightforward answer, Tom, which is really easy, right? Bots are very much within the sort of capabilities of what we start to think of today as a citizen developer, right? If all I want to do is wire up some business processes and have some basic level interaction between people and systems, I can do that with Power Automate. I can do that with business flows. I can start to create bots that are true zero code solutions, right? Accessible to that line of business user all the way through, right? If I want the front end interface to be Teams, but I want to leverage Azure machine learning. I want to leverage cognitive analytics. I want to leverage Lewis, right? And I want to have an intelligent agent that speaks multiple languages, understands human context, connects to data, knows sentiment, processes images and video. It's the sky's the limit. So it's really everyone from kind of that a line of business manager through a professional developer. So as easy as you need it to be.
So you can do these things in phases. You can start small, build some simple capabilities, try it out, take
Yeah.
feedback from your users, evolve it over time. But essentially, you can take these things all the way up to sentiment analysis, which would actually probably be a really good thing for this video, our little channel we have here, to see if we're capturing our audience or not. But yeah, I think so. A lot of amazing things we could do here, and as we wrap up here today, we'll put some links on the bottom of the screen here so that you can get more information about how to write bots and teams. And Matt, I want to thank you for your time, and continue to work with these different scenarios with customers. Bring them back. We'll have you back on this channel from time to time as we're doing cool things, and you can talk about what we're doing and how we're doing them and how others can do them as well. So thanks
Cool.
again.
Thank you, Tom. Look forward to it. See you.
Cheers.